You know, he has a whole tape about this stuff.
Hey y'all, Scott here. What do I want for Christmas? For some tree to get absolutely f***ed up. That works.
What the f*** do I do? That's where the holiday gift guides come in. These giant fat books. Like oink oink, Mr. Cow. Ever have a really hard time figuring out what to get somebody you should know inside and out by now? Like, how do you not know your dad's shoe size? Well, these books are here to help. Bingo. As a kid, your natural instinct was to thumb through these catalogs with an ass-red pen and make sure mom knows damn well your priorities. It's so much easier this way, because how often do you know off the top of your head everything you need?
A septic tank.
Having nearly everything sellable right in front of your face definitely helps, but that's considering what these guides were like back when they were new. Now, they're straight up time capsules. This is the oldest one I own from the holiday season of 1983, the Video Game Christmas Guide. Let's see, they suggest the Magnavox Odyssey 2, okay, the Odyssey 2, the Odyssey 2, and the Odyssey 2. I think this fits the term propaganda well. Who do you think you are calling a Magnavox Odyssey 2 at a video game gift guide? None of those words apply. This released just a year before the Odyssey 2 was discontinued, so I'm sure they cheaped out on staples by going with this folder-esque design, but in all honesty, this is pretty cool. It gives you the opportunity to turn any of these pages into posters. Pop this on your wall, blast some metal, and tell mom to off. The next oldest one I own is actually from Japan. This one is a part of the long-running Japanese magazine Weekly Famitsu, released in November of 1991 and covers Famicom, Super Famicom, and Game Boy releases. Yeah, English may be my first language, but Japanese is tied for second along with all the other languages I don't know. Of course, taking into consideration the fact I can't read any of this, at the very least, thumbing through and seeing all the pictures is somewhat appealing. I mean, it's kinda cool to think there was a time when Hatris was just coming out. Seeing screenshots of Famicom and Game Boy games that are so obviously just taken with a camera off screen is really charming. When I was a kid, that's how I would have put together a video game magazine in Microsoft Office or something, so it's really cool to see actual professionals use more amateurish techniques, even if it's only because that's all they could really do at the time. Now, I will reiterate. What? I can't read any of this, so let's dumb it down a notch. This right here is probably what many will think of when hearing Holiday Gift Guide, the Sears catalog, this one being from 1992. What's Sears, you may ask? I'll answer that by asking, what's Kmart? Sears was a department store, the most popular for a while. They sold pretty much everything, but I don't know. Something about the logo made me think all they sold was car parts. But no, if this wish book is anything to go by, they did it all. They're still around now with a softer logo that makes it feel more like a Macy's. That's gotta be plagiarism. But their prominence is greatly reduced compared to their peak years. Not nearly as many stores, barely anybody talks about them, and it's pissing me off.
I'm going to Sears!
These wish books covered everything, as in here's the cover showcasing children telling Santa what they want. Lingerie. Collegeopoly. What kind of jerks can't get the Monopoly license? For style points, they include NES games and accessories in with this listing for crew necks and cargos, because I'd like to see you play Metroid in anything but. See, I like this because it shows how everything was back in 1992, not just video games. Pants were different back then. Or how novelty fish merch was just getting started. A personal tanning bed for $2,500? I already own a flashlight.
This counts.
Ha! Grooming kits for kids.
It's not what you think!
Yeah, they were doing play shaving kits with Batman and Ninja Turtles licensing, which makes things better.
This came from Batman.
Oh, a Barbie Party Bake Oven. That's just an Easy Bake Oven, you coward. You know, I always wanted an Easy Bake Oven as a kid. I mean, why wouldn't I? I could make cake whenever I wanted. But of course, the boy version was called the Queasy Bake Oven and only had gross sounding recipes, because obviously no boy would ever want to make brownies. Oh, hell yeah, the little computers for kids. This one looks pretty high tech, all things considered. We spent 50 bucks on this thing and all he's typing is horse. The hell, they had gamer chairs all the way back then? I thought those were invented in the mid 2000s to keep the Xbox fans down.
I have back problems and play Halo.
That's just too much. Character sleeping bags. Out of all these, why would you pick the car that's half shown or the rollerbladers? I want to be inside that. The photos here are quite impressive considering that pretty much every product has kind of an elaborate photo shoot setup. Like, look at these toys, all having thematically appropriate backgrounds and terrain. For an era without Photoshop, this is really cool. A rector.
Yep.
He agrees. I even have collectibles, autographs, sports, and pop culture memorabilia. I just flat out wouldn't expect that from a department store. Oh my god, a gumball machine for only 20 bucks? I would have lost my fucking mind at that as a kid. I love this kind of garbage. Like, it would make my bedroom feel like a Fazoli's. Entire box sets of comic books, pool, air hockey, and foosball tables, board games, miniature at-home plastic pinball games, which I owned this Mario 64 one as a kid. Speaking of which, we're finally at the video game portion of the wish book. This thing goes all over the place. I'm not sure how they're organizing it. It's like, here's a section for kids, then here's underwear, Mom. Well, firstly, we got the Game Boy front and center here alongside LCD games by Konami. Only 20 bucks a pop, but the actual Game Boy games themselves, not bad, only around 30. I always loved this Game Boy carrying case. That looks just like a Game Boy. Weirdly enough, no screenshots of games for the handheld, while on the next page for the Atari Lynx and Sega Game Gear, we get nothing but Bill and Ted, time-traveling righteous dudes on a wacky adverb. The Turbo Duo was $300. Moving on. Right in the middle of the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo rivalry, with images of Sonic and Mario front and center. The Mario artwork looks ripped from the Japanese manga series. Sonic, well, they used the Japanese design compared to the North American one. This book is just flat out fun to look through. I mean, I think everybody gets a kick out of just looking at toys. Look, you can be Nickelodeon. But there's so much here that I feel like vintage Sears wish books should be held to a higher standard these days. Historians should scoop these up and treasure them, as nothing else will give you a better indication of what was going on this year than this. But the wish book covers everything. What about something a bit more fine-tuned? This right here is an electronics boutique catalog from holiday 1994. Yikes, 96 pages? You're weak. Literally half of this entire catalog is PC software, which, hey, at least old school PC games had some of the coolest boxes. Since they weren't restricted to a standardized format, they could do trapezoids, tombstones, or just out there graphic designs like Front Page Sports or the Bicycle pack of playing cards for this collection of PC card games. The Street Fighter series includes Street Fighter 1 and 2 plus bonus Mega Man 1 and 3. Well, then this package is just as much Mega Man as it is Street Fighter. What the hell? Jesus, $30 for screensavers? Like, how is this the same price as Dr. Ruth's Encyclopedia of Sex? And why is Seinfeld more expensive than both? Contains all the information you and your family need to be sexually literate in the 90s.
Any other decade, you're
Or you're not getting f***ed, I guess, so make your way to American Dream Calendar Girl screensaver. This is a tough decision. Bro, Metal and Lace contains violence and sexy graphics? Is that a warning or a selling point? Looking for something fun and exciting yet sexier than munching dots or pudgy painters? Oh, go f*** yourself. You losers playing Pac-Man when you should be horny. Limber up those fingers. Comes packed with speed and action to challenge the player in you, and includes the first ever action game plot to entertain you. You really think this would turn me on? You think Pac-Man doesn't, cause joke's on you, it does! Finally, we're out of the PC section, and things start off with the Tiger Electronic LCD games. Jesus Christ. All roughly 20 bucks except for this Dear Diary one. Obviously, it's a bit more complex, almost like a miniature electronic planner. Speaking of which, did you know Sega made something like that? A Sega Electronic Communicator and Organizer. This entire page is dedicated to everything Sega that barely counts as Sega. The Pocket Arcade, the Pico, Pods. Who the hell are you? Then there's the 4 pages for the Panasonic 3DO. You can trademark the word real. Roughly $70 per 32X game. That's f***ed up. 36 great holes. Who ranked them? Rayman got this bizarre temporary box art and was referred to as the Rayman. Pages dedicated to different publishers. Oh my god, like, you'd think these pages are being utilized enough. Mickey. It's so cool to see temporary box art like this for games so old. To see that they didn't have Super Punch-Out or Uniraces or Tin Star art, so they had to make their own. It's really something else. But my god, video game prices were ridiculous back then. The fact that Tetris 2 is only $10 less than Super Metroid is a crime. The fact that X-Men and the Great Circus Mystery are both $70, but at least there's a pre-order bonus for Wario's Woods for the player that just couldn't wait. But then Final Fantasy 3 was 80 bucks, which makes sense. If you're getting money out of any game, it's probably this one. Though they messed up the name in the descriptions here. Brutal Paws of Fury is more expensive than Super Metroid, Mario Paint, and Donkey Kong Country. That's confidence. This guide is nothing but pure joy to skim through. Even though half of it is taken up by old PC software, it's kind of refreshing. You don't see that stuff covered nearly as much as old school console games, so it's neat to see everything this guide covers, plus how much it all cost at the time. Each of the big video game companies generally put out their own little brochure, like this PlayStation one from 2002. Live in your world, play in ours. Stuart Little 2. Guides like this mainly just focus on the holiday lineup for said system, rather than what's the thing to buy. Though specific games like Sly Cooper and SOCOM get much more space than others, it's obvious Sony's really trying to push stuff like Primal. I really like catalogs like this because they help put you in the shoes of a gamer back then. I only really started to consume gaming news around 2008 or so. To be able to look at 2002 from the eyes of a PlayStation 2 owner, I think it's important. Which doing so would piss off gamers from 2002 because I'm acting like I really know what it was like to be gaming in 2002, but it would piss them off otherwise if I was only talking about how Wii music was my childhood. But hey, 2003 was my childhood, so I think a Sears catalog from this time will do wonders for me. I can immediately see a huge difference in quality here. This feels much more modern already. A $10 512 games in one LCD game. Arcade style display?
What the hell are you talking about? That has more in common with a calculator than an arcade machine. It's like, oh, this is just like an arcade machine. It exists.
Personalized cotton towel, as in they used a label maker? Oh my god, I always wanted one of these portable TVs. That would have been amazing to use that wherever I please, especially if you combine it with the Video Center TV stand. Bring that on a trip, would ya? Looks like some things never change. For all the kids who browse the wish book to circle what they want for Christmas.
That's a crotch.
Yes, this is a very 2003. Extreme sweatshirts next to Levi's with Levi's in bold red on the jeans.
Yeah, the only reason I wear pants is because people know they're Levi's.
Yes, the state-of-the-art TV for the time was this behemoth. Honestly, if you're one of those old farts that say things are too complicated now, have fun moving this. What the hell? Okay, so Palm handhelds seem to be precursors to the Palm cell phones, but these are more so digital planners. But here are Palm Pack games sold separately, including Rayman and a Sega Classics compilation. I have never heard of this. It turns out the Sega one is a bunch of Game Gear games. I assumed this was gonna be Genesis games, but no, it's Game Gear. A microwave with a toaster built in. Who the hell wants a toaster on its side like that? You're gonna get crumbs everywhere. Gotta be honest, these pictures of toys aren't nearly as impressive as the books from the 90s. I mean, those compositions were intense. Here, they're pretty much just putting them on solid color backdrops. It's a huge downgrade in my opinion. But 2003, the mini LCD games have pretty much been relegated to board and card games. I had the Yahtzee one as a kid, and okay, well, I guess by 2003, Sears gave up on video games. Weird considering they still did the Palm stuff. They were selling DVD and CD players and lingerie, but no movies, music, or video games. For that, I suppose we have to look at the GameStop 2003 holiday catalog. This one is far more kind of fucking boring. It's still cool, but every page feels the exact same. I don't understand why most games and products have prices, but then others just have great gift or yes, like give me answers. Much like previous years, I really find it compelling to see temporary box art. I mean, this Wario World one, I wish it wasn't temporary. I can go through these kind of things all day, and I'd love to do more in the future. But for the time being, I think this was a lovely trip down holiday memory lane.
Because who doesn't look at a $2,500 tanning bed and go, nostalgia? The holidays are a stressful time, but it's important to cherish those smaller, simpler moments because in reality, those are the moments you will remember for years to come. Sometimes I remember these books more than the actual Christmases these books were for. And even then, I don't even remember a lot of the products in these books. More so, I remember spending time with my grandma circling products. I mean, those are superfluous memories, but special ones. So, thank you, Sears.
Is this what his therapy sessions are like?
Yeah, with less crying.